Hi everyone, so I just got out of the shower. I wanted to do a really quick side-by-side review, and today I'll be doing the iconic Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk against the new powder fabric long wear high coverage foundation. As you can see here, they're pretty much the exact same packaging. They're in this really sleek matte glass bottle, and yeah, the only difference is that the Giorgio Armani logo on the power fabric, the new launch, is basically red, and the original one is like this black silver. So that's the only difference in terms of packaging. So we will really be testing out the type of coverage, the finish, and whether or not it suits oily to combination to dehydrated skin type. So yeah, I have both shades in 4.5, but looking at it based on what it is, I'm not sure if you guys can tell, they don't seem to be the same shade. I have had the Luminous Silk for quite a while, maybe about 8 months already, so maybe it has oxidized, but yeah, these aren't the same shade in terms of being the same number, shade 4.5, but it really doesn't look the same. So this is the condition of my skin at the moment. I am going to apply about 2 pumps of the Luminous Silk. I'm going to shake them up really good. Finish or the consistency of the foundation, and it's a little bit runny. It's not super liquidy, but you know, you can see that it has quite a bit of a slip to it. This one from Zoeva, the 104 buffer brush. Basically with one light layer. You can see a lot of the discoloration in my skin has been neutralized. My skin is far from perfect, but it looks really natural. So with a super light layer, this is what you will get. Around my nose, you can see I do have a little bit of freckles and that kind of thing, so it's still showing through. A few of these red color marks around my nose. It's slightly discolored, but you can still see it. So that's how it looks with a really light layer. I'm going to build up coverage in certain areas so that you guys can see how the Luminous Silk foundation actually builds on top of one another. See how it's slowly transforming to be a lot more full coverage, and I'm looking really put together. Everything is looking super flawless, and as you can see, my pores, they are not super noticeable. It's not something that sinks into the skin that easily. I have no primer or anything on at the moment, so you can see how even without that kind of a skin prep, the luxury foundation, like the quality of it really shows. It sits on the skin really beautifully, and I know a lot of celebrities use this foundation. So this is how it looks like up close, and from afar it reflects light really well. I'll just turn my face so it doesn't look super starking against my bare skin. But so this is how my natural skin looks like, and this is how it looks like with Luminous Silk. Luminous Silk is a little bit tacky. It's not anything mattifying. It's very reminiscent of the Healthy Mix Serum, but this is a lot better because it does provide a lot more coverage, and also it isn't as dewy as the Healthy Mix Serum, but it is that kind of finish where it looks really natural. Consistency of this is also looking a little bit runny. It doesn't look to be super runny. It's not falling down the back of my hand, so it has a little bit of form to it. Similarly with one light layer, you can still see a few of my acne scars and discolorations, but I find that with one light layer, the Power Fabric foundation actually looks so much more full coverage than the Luminous Silk. So this is something that achieves a medium coverage right off the first application, whereas the Luminous Silk definitely had some sort of a sheer kind of a finish that made it look really natural. I feel like the immediate finish of this foundation is definitely a demi matte, and it's not super matte to the point where your skin feels really tight. It's a really comfortable matte, so I like to believe that there is some sort of moisturizing properties in it. So quite obviously it is really buildable, and I feel like I don't need that much spot concealing at this point. My skin looks really full coverage, and also doesn't accentuate a lot of my textural dry flakes. I mean, there's a difference between textural issues in terms of lumps and bumps, which you have acne for, and textural issues in terms of dry skin. I do have a little bit of that at times because I am dehydrated due to the acne intensive products that I use. Not sure if you guys can see, but up close it doesn't really look like my dry flakes are showing, which is surprising, but I do believe that this will dry down to even more of a matte finish. So it does require some sort of hydrating primer if you want that kind of natural, dewy yet a little bit controlled mattifying kind of a finish. But this is how it looks like on the left side. So from a little further up, I'm not sure if you can tell the shade difference, but I feel like the Luminous Silk in 4.5 shifts a little bit more neutral. It looks like a little bit of a peach yellow undertone, whereas the Power Fabric definitely looks a lot more yellow in undertone. So yeah, but I think if you look at it like objectively, it doesn't really look to be too disastrous a discrepancy. So I think everything is looking really beautiful at this point. You can see on the right side there's not much shine going on. It looks quite velvety and powdery in finish, and on the Luminous Silk side it just looks really radiant. And yeah, this is how both of these foundations look at the moment. I'm just gonna apply the rest of my makeup and I'll get back to you. Okay, so that's how both the foundations look like on my skin. As you saw in the close-up, it pretty much looks exactly the same like how I applied it in the beginning. So yeah, both of these foundations are really similar, but I hope you guys have taken down some notes if you are thinking of buying this, because it isn't cheap, but also I just think that it's a really beautiful addition to their existing foundation lines. And if anyone knows anything about Giorgio Armani, is that it's a luxury brand that knows how to do foundation bases, and it's not something you can argue with. Even if you say like it's not worth the price point, it does sit really beautifully on the skin and you really can't deny it. So this definitely exceeds any of my expectations, and it's basically gonna be like a 15 out of 10. It's just beyond my rating scale, just cause I'm a huge fan of Giorgio Armani, let's just put it that way. And yeah, it's basically the foundation that I always gravitate to whenever I have any sort of formal occasion, because I know it won't flash back and it looks really good on my skin and it will last the whole evening. So yeah, that's all I really have to say at this point for this side-by-side comparison. And if you guys enjoyed this video, do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!